Former Governor General Sir Cooke has died. Sir Howard passed away on Friday, July 11. He was 98 years old. The JIS wishes to express condolences to the family and friends of one of the pioneers of modern Jamaican politics and a significant contributor to the island's education system. We invite you to stay with us as we pay tribute to Sir Howard. You will also get to view the reactions of our political leaders on Sir Howard's passing.
You should never take more than you give in the circle of life.
No, son. A verb is an action word.
Parents need to become more involved in their children's education.
Parents are the first and in many cases the most important teachers.
Read with your children. Review their schoolwork. Visit their school.
Tapping and rapping and slapping, I said.
Nice! High five! Woo! A good education will never decay.
Good day, I'm Tamara McHale and this is your JIS News for Monday, July 14. Jamaica's leaders continue to pay tribute this Monday to former Governor General Sir Cooke, who died on Friday at age 98. The current Governor General, Sir Patrick Allen, says the nation owes a debt of gratitude to the man affectionately known as Teacher. He hails Sir Howard as an exemplary servant leader whose life is worthy of emulation. Prime Minister Portia Simpson-Miller similarly reflects that Sir Howard has served the nation with the utmost distinction, passion and selflessness, calling him an illustrious son of the nation and a gentle soul. While pointing to his many accomplishments in life, Mrs. Simpson-Miller says the former politician and educator embraced all and was a model of inclusiveness and non-partisanship. The Prime Minister and Governor General have both extended condolences to his family. Sir Cooke, who became Jamaica's fourth Governor General in August 1991, demitted office in February 2006. He served as a cabinet minister, senator, and member of the House of Representatives and gave 23 years in the classroom. Starting this week, the Ministry of Agriculture will be implementing a $30 million drought mitigation project for farmers across the island. Permanent Secretary Donovan Stanberry says the ministry is collaborating with various agencies and stakeholders on the initiative.
As we speak, we have sent out missives to every single area in Jamaica in terms of constituency to have the farmers, the JS, rather, work with their local representatives to put together a credible program of drought mitigation.
Mr. Stanberry was speaking at the annual general meeting of the Jamaica Agricultural Society recently. He pointed out that the $4 billion spent by the government to implement irrigation schemes across the island have served to lessen the effects of the drought. To build on that, he said the administration was investing in rainwater harvesting systems and looking to build microdams through its climate change program. The development of special economic zones (SEZs) across the country is closer to becoming a reality with the completion of an interim policy framework. Industry, Investment and Commerce Minister Anthony Hilton had assembled an SEZ policy steering committee a few months ago with investment and trading expert Patricia Francis at the helm. On Thursday, the committee showcased its interim policy framework, which will pave the way for the establishment of the zones, a critical component of the Jamaica Global Logistics Hub initiative. Minister Hilton says the proposed policy will guide the passage of critical and relevant pieces of legislation for the implementation of the economic zones.
In putting this interim policy together, consultative engagements were held with various organizations represented on the SEZ Policy Steering Committee, both terms public and private sector.
The special economic zones are to play a key role in Jamaica's economic reform agenda and will help attract foreign direct investment into the country. The World Bank will be collaborating with the Jamaican government to develop the country's open data policy. Technology State Minister Julian Robinson says development of the policy is set to begin this September. He adds that it will give citizens easier access to government data.
We're going to look at how we use government data to facilitate innovation and entrepreneurship. We should have that policy completed by December, and we're going to establish an open data portal for government.
This follows on the success of the Open Data Pilot Project, which was conducted by the Rural Agricultural Development Authority in partnership with the Mona School of Business and Management. Coming out of that pilot project, 2 apps were created that help farmers to identify the best locations for farming, as well as areas that have high incidence of predial larceny. And finally, students of the St. Martin de Porres Primary School will return after their summer break to sparkling new facilities. Members of the Korean Embassy and other stakeholders recently partnered to refurbish the facilities at a cost of $5,000 US.
I learned from the newspaper that Jamaican educational facilities in need because of some financial challenges. So Embassy initiated and sponsored this project to refurbish this primary school.
It's a good example of exactly the kind of partnership we need in education. Isn't it wonderful? These people could have gone anywhere else in Jamaica or any other charitable area in health, in security, for their own purposes, and yet they've decided to give their time, give their treasure, and give their talent.
And that's it for JIS News today. I'm Tamara McHale. Thank you for watching.
Let's celebrate Jamaica to the world. Fastest man in the world. First Jamaican woman to win gold in Olympic 100-meter sprint. An upcoming global superstar. Mouth-watering meals. And a vibrant set of people. We are Jamaicans. Let's get together and bring back the love.
Watch as we reflect on the life and work of the man affectionately called Teacher.
Father, pastor, teacher, cricketer, Governor General. Sir Howard Felix Hanlon Cooke was a man for all seasons. He was born November 15, 1915 and raised in a little village in Goodwill, St. James. With a butcher for a dad and a seamstress for a mum, Howard Cooke knew the meaning of humble beginnings. And as for his journey to success, let's just say the path he walked left him with his fair share of blisters.
I was a village boy and ran around the village barefooted like the rest of the little boys, climbing trees, setting springes for birds. Oh, my life was a happy one.
But as he grew, young Howard realized that Jamaica of the early 1900s was gripped by social injustices and hardships. Thus, as early as his first year in Michael College, this bright and idealistic 17-year-old began to feel he must help make a change.
There was a fire in our belly. We wanted to improve. We wanted to run better. We wanted to play cricket. We had our George Headley coming up and we wanted to emulate him. At that time, we heard of only 2 great barristers, Norman Manley and J.G. Smith. But we all wanted to be J.G. Smith or Norman Manley. And it was a course where we were anxious, very anxious, to have excellence without even being able to identify what was excellent.
College days were exciting, a time of intellectual ferment. They were also days of wholesome development and fun. Far from a bookworm, Cooksey, as his friends called him, was a sports enthusiast. It was there too that his passion for politics was manifested, and the time would come for politics on an even grander scale. Cooksey was also a good and spirited friend.
I've never seen him get into a temper. We were walking together and I was needling him. But I was being very cautious physically. And sure enough, I saw his fist coming around to my head. And I was able to duck. And then we both laughed, you see.
Howard Cooke dedicated 23 years to teaching in the classroom, an occupation he speaks of with the greatest delight. His teaching career started at Mico College and Practicing School. He then went on to serve as headmaster at Belcastle All Age, Port Antonio Upper School and Montego Bay Boys School. And in Jamaica of the 1930s and 40s, a teacher did not simply teach. He was the highly respected agent of socialization and guidance.
The teacher was everything. If a person had a quarrel with his wife, then teacher would have to go and settle it. If they had some differences in land occupation, they called in the teacher. If somebody had died and the minister wasn't there, the teacher buried the dead. He preached the sermon on the Sunday and taught the children on the Monday.
They help many, many children with private lessons, with all kinds of things. I'm sure my mother doesn't know how many people my father, helped, and we don't know either, but he was always helping people.
The spirit of excellence and academic achievement were constant motivators for Teacher Cooke.
Whatever village I went to teach, or whatever school, I was jealous that my school should be better than other schools. And because of that, I worked hard. And I spent a lot of time teaching the children to aspire.
He furthered his studies at London University, but returned home to hone his craft as teacher. The union between man and job wasn't the only combination that kept Howard going. There was also the coming together of man and bride. It was none other than Ivy Sylvia Lucille Ty that caught the eye of young Cooksey. She was an honors graduate of Bethlehem Training College and had been specially selected to teach at the Kingston Senior School. On July 22, 1939, Howard Cooke and Ivy Ty became husband and wife. The union produced 3 children, Howard Fitz Arthur, Richard Washington McDermott, and Audrey Faith. Howard's first stint in politics began at the Mico College. Back then, political activist Osmond Theodore Fairclough, popularly called OT, began to tickle his mind with notions of change and improvement of the social condition. At that time, Jamaica's mass lived and worked with no representational voice. Men worked for 1 shilling a day and women for 9 pence, though they worked the same hours. Social conditions were appalling. 3/4 of the population lived in acute poverty, and even basic health and educational facilities were hard to come by. Something had to be done.
I remember the days when throughout the country, people had to cope with malaria, they had to cope with yaws, and tropical diseases. There was a deliberate effort to wipe that out, and we have succeeded. And we are not glorifying those people who have made a great contribution. And it is so unfortunate that these days you hear everybody talking about the politician is this and the politician is not remembering that it was the politicians, the teachers, the ministers who led in that great social revolution has taken place in our country.
The moment of transition for Teacher Cooke came when he, then a member of the Jamaica Union of Teachers, was sent as one of 2 delegates to discuss the formation of a political party. Though he was the youngest person in the room, he was selected to be part of a steering committee that would decide on the way forward. And again, when a committee of 7 was selected to draft the constitution of the new party, Howard Cooke was numbered in their midst. The party became known as the People's National Party. Howard Cooke led an exciting life in representational politics, always acting on behalf of the people in Western Jamaica. In 1958, an interesting development took place. The West Indies Federation was born, and Mr. Cooke was elected to the West Indies Federal Parliament as the representative for St. James. But the Federation did not survive its infancy. Sir Howard eventually entered the Jamaican Parliament in 1962 and served as senator until early 1967. He also served as member of the House of Representatives between 1967 and 1980 and was a Minister of Government between 1972 and 1980. As minister, he held at different times the portfolios of pension and security, education, and labor and the public service. As Minister of Education, Howard Cooke was passionate about his first love. He succeeded in getting counseling introduced in every school and clamored for schools to be built as part of any planned community. Sir Howard Cooke was also President of the Senate from 1989 to 1991 and served on the executive of the Commonwealth Parliamentary Association. The zenith of Sir Howard's life in public service came in 1991. The country boy turned teacher turned politician stepped into the highest office in the land. Howard Felix Hanlon Cooke became the third Jamaican-born Governor-General of Jamaica, following in the steps of Sir Florizel Augustus Glaspole and Sir Clifford Campbell. Somehow, in the sea of activities which have ebbed and flowed in his life, Howard Cooke has managed to have other interests. He served as Group Scoutmaster and Secretary for the St. Andrew Boys Scouts Association. He captained Cornwall's cricket team and at various times was a member of the Michael College, Portland and St. James cricket teams. He was also a member of the Michael College, Portland and St. James football teams. His interests also extended to the exciting arena of culture. For many years, he was a member of the Jamaica Cultural Development Commission and was Secretary and local chairman of the St. James Cultural Commission. He also judged in the JCDC festival competitions. Sir Howard was a senior elder and lay pastor in the United Church of Jamaica and the Cayman Islands, and lay pastor and past chairman of the Cornwall Council of Churches. Along the path to success, Sir Howard has picked up numerous and prestigious awards. In 1978, he was awarded the Commander of Distinction, and in 1980, the Special Plaque for Distinguished Service from the Commonwealth Parliamentary Association. In 1991, he was awarded the Knight Grand Cross of the Most Distinguished Order of St. Michael and St. George, conferred on him by Her Majesty Queen Elizabeth. That same year, he received the Order of the Nation. And in 1994, the Knight Grand Cross of the Royal Victorian Order was conferred on Howard Cooke by Her Majesty the Queen.
It has been a learning experience. I've learned to love my people more. I've learned to understand their distresses, their struggles, but more importantly, I've been able to identify the great successes of a great people. And so I consider it privilege and rewarding.
Challenges.
As Governor General, everybody wants you to satisfy their needs. And when anybody speaks, they want you to agree with them. So one of the difficulty was to show where you agreed or disagreed without making people unhappy. So it means that you, of necessity, you had to show skill, great skill in social relationship.
Advice to those following in his footsteps?
Listen carefully and not be quick to come to judgment.
Jamaica's third native Governor-General has left his mark on our island home, a feat accomplished after many decades of selfless service.
Prime Minister Portia Simpson Miller reacted with profound sadness to Sir Howard's passing, saying Jamaica lost one of its most illustrious and gentlest souls. Those and other happenings come your way next in Jamaica House Weekly.
Prime Minister remembers former Governor-General Sir Howard Cooke. Jamaica receives final installment of grant funding for Sabina Park lighting project, and Senator Faulkner updates the nation on cabinet deliberations of the past week. This is Jamaica House Weekly. I am Simone Wolfe. Prime Minister Portia Simpson Miller has offered her deepest condolences to the family of former Governor-General Sir Howard Cooke, who died on Friday at age 98. In a statement, Mrs. Simpson Miller described Sir Howard as one of Jamaica's most illustrious sons and one of our gentlest souls. The Prime Minister noted that it was impossible to overemphasize his contribution to Jamaica, as he served with the utmost distinction, passion and selflessness. Mrs. Simpson Miller recalled that ever since Sir Howard's 1938 entry into public life, he served with unwavering commitment to the upliftment of his people. She said Sir Howard's passing had left a deep void in Jamaica's national life, as he embraced all and was a model of inclusiveness and non-partisanship. Sir Howard Cooke served in many capacities, including as a member of the West Indies Federal Parliament, a senator, member of Parliament, minister, and the fourth Governor-General of Jamaica. Sir Howard also spent 23 years in the classroom and was a leading member of the interfaith community. On Thursday, Minister responsible for sport, Natalie Nita Headley, received on behalf of government the final installment of grant funding for the Sabina Park lighting project. The $1.33 million granted by the government of India will go towards the installation of floodlights to allow for the hosting of night matches.
This is something historic for us, and India will not know how much it has increased the level of interest, which we believe will be shown in cricket and the participation, because so much of our young persons at this time are interested in the shorter version of the game, one. Two, and that we are a working population who at this time I believe prefer evening into night games. It's going to lift for us what is happening in downtown Kingston, and we believe that with the marketing strategies to be employed by Sabina Park Holdings, that the venue will not just be used for cricket, it will be a center for entertainment in Kingston.
The project costs $2.7 million, most of which $2.1 million came from the Indian government, while the rest came from the Tourism Enhancement Fund. Launched in April 2014, it's being managed by the Urban Development Corporation. Minister Nita Headley said the lighting project was on track to be completed by the end of July. Last week, Cabinet approved amendments to the Cybercrimes Act and issued the necessary drafting instructions to amend the legislation.
With the increased use of various technological devices and tools to commit sophisticated criminal activities, there have been new challenges for the cybercrimes legislation and law enforcement agencies, necessitating the review.
The Cybercrimes Act was passed in March 2012 and seeks to address computer-specific offenses. Meanwhile, the minister responsible for information said Cabinet also approved the appointment of Ambassador Burchell Whiteman to the Council of the University of Technology, UTech.
This arises from the secondment of Professor Errol Morrison to the Ministry of Science, Technology, Energy and Mining as chairman for the National Commission on Science and Technology. Ambassador Whiteman, who is currently acting president of UTech, will serve on the council until February 2015, when Professor Morrison's contract with UTEC expires.
And Senator Faulkner also informed the press about board appointments. She announced the members of the Teachers Appeal Tribunal, the Scientific Research Council, E-Learning Jamaica Company Limited, and the reappointment of Erwin Jones as chairman of Petrojam Jamaica Limited. And finally, Prime Minister Portia Simpson-Miller has returned to duties after taking a brief vacation last week. Mrs. Simpson-Miller was off the island on holiday from July 8 to 11. And that's it for this week's edition of Jamaica House Weekly. Join us next time for the top stories coming out of the office of the Prime Minister.
If you're going to be in the capital city this weekend, add these festival season events to your calendar. This July 19, catch 13 culturally aware beauties vie for the Miss Jamaica Festival Queen Crown. Come see some of Jamaica's brightest and most beautiful women showcase their talents and personalities and tell you how they'll use their community involvement to build Jamaica. And on July 20, all roads lead to the Randy Williams Entertainment Center, where up-and-coming artists will get a chance to shine at the big stage national finals.
We want this to be an avenue for our young people to really get an opportunity to bust, as they would say, on the big stage.
Showtime is 7 p.m., so bring your loved ones out and make it a family affair. For more information, log on to jcdc.gov.jm.
Economize, fix leaks, use conservation devices, and reuse. What are we talking about? Water-saving measures, of course. The drought is on, so we're offering up some cool tips to ensure that you weather this dry summer season. First up, economize. Water is expensive, so be mindful of the amount you and your family use and do try to use less. Next up, fixing leaks. A drop of water from a leak wastes 2,400 gallons, so ensure that you get a competent plumber to come in and do the necessary repairs. We also mentioned using conservation devices. Using water-saving shower heads, faucets, and toilets can save you thousands in the long run, so please invest in water-saving devices. And finally, reuse water. The water used to bathe, wash dishes or clothes can be used to flush the toilet or water your lawn and flowers, plus wash off the concrete or asphalt in your yard. For more information on what you can do to conserve water and save money, click on the National Water Commission's website, nwcjamaica.com.
Can you spare some time to help others?
How about 67 minutes?
This July 18, join the global movement to give service to others. Volunteer your time to literacy, shelter, and food security efforts in your community. Let's honor the 67 years of service world leader Nelson Mandela gave us.
None of us acting alone can achieve success. We must therefore act together as a united people for national reconciliation, for nation building, for the birth of a new world.
Remember, we can change the world and make it a better place. The choice is in your hands, so volunteer today.
And that's how we close today's episode of Jamaica Magazine. Have comments, queries, or you just want to big us up? Email us jamaicamagazine@jis.gov.jm. If browsing is more your speed, visit our website jis.gov.jm or log on to our YouTube page, YouTube.com/WatchJIS. On behalf of the entire team here at the JIS, I'm Arroyo Eubanks, reminding you to conserve on water and save big bucks.
This has been a production of the Jamaica Information Service, the voice of Jamaica.